The Heroes of Olympus, Book 5, The Blood of Olympus, by Rick Riordan. Chapter 15, Nico. Wolves? Reyna asked. They were eating dinner from a nearby sidewalk cafe. Despite Hades' warning to hurry back, Nico had found nothing much changed at the camp. Reyna had just awoken. The Athena Parthenos still lay sideways across the top of the temple. Coach Hedge was entertaining a few locals with tap dancing and martial arts, occasionally singing into his megaphone, though nobody seemed to understand what he was saying. Nico wished the coach hadn't brought the megaphone. Not only was it loud and obnoxious, but also, for no reason Nico understood, it occasionally blurted out random Darth Vader lines from Star Wars, or yelled, "The cow goes moo!" As the three of them sat on the lawn to eat, Reyna seemed alert and rested. She and Coach Hedge listened as Nico described his dreams, then his meeting with Hades at the Chapel of Bones. Nico held back a few personal details from his talk with his father, though he sensed that Reyna knew plenty about wrestling with one's feelings. When he mentioned Orion and the wolves that were supposedly on their way, Reyna frowned. "Most wolves are friendly to Romans," she said. "I've never heard stories about Orion hunting with a pack." Nico finished his hand sandwich. He eyed the plate of pastries and was surprised to find he still had an appetite. It could have been a figure of speech. Very little time before the wolves arrive. Perhaps Hades didn't literally mean wolves. At any rate, we should leave as soon as it's dark enough for shadows. Coach Hedge stuffed an issue of Guns and Ammo into his bag. "Only problem, the Athena Parthenos is still 30 feet in the air. Gonna be fun hauling you guys and your gear to the top of that temple." Nico tried a pastry. The lady at the cafe had called them farturas. They looked like spiral donuts and tasted great, just the right combination of crispy, sugary, and buttery. But when Nico first heard fartura, he knew Percy would have made a joke out of the name. "America has donuts," Percy would have said. "Portugal has fart nuts." The older Nico got, the more juvenile Percy seemed to him, though Percy was 3 years older. Nico found his sense of humor equal parts endearing and annoying. He decided to concentrate on the annoying. Then there were the times Percy was deadly serious, looking up at Nico from that chasm in Rome. "The other side, Nico. Lead them there. Promise me." And Nico had promised. It didn't seem to matter how much he resented Percy Jackson. Nico would do anything for him. He hated himself for that. "So," Reyna's voice jarred him from his thoughts. "Will Camp Half-Blood wait for August 1st, or will they attack?" "We have to hope they wait," Nico said. I can't get the statue back any faster." "Even at this rate, my dad thinks I might die." Nico kept that thought private. He wished Hazel was with him. Together, they had shadow-traveled the entire crew of the Argo II out of the House of Hades. When they shared their power, Nico felt like anything was possible. The trip to Camp Half-Blood could have been done in half the time. Besides, Hades' words about one of the crew dying had sent a chill through him. He couldn't lose Hazel. Not another sister. Not again. Coach Hedge looked up from counting the change in his baseball cap. "And you're sure Clarice said Melly was okay?" "Yes, Coach. Clarice is taking good care of her." "That's a relief. I don't like what Grover said about Gaia whispering to the nymphs and dryads. If the nature spirits turn evil, that's not going to be pretty." Nico had never heard of such a thing happening. Then again, Gaia hadn't been awake since the dawn of humanity. Reyna took a bite of her pastry. Her chainmail glittered in the afternoon sun. "I wonder about these wolves. Is it possible we've misunderstood the message? The goddess Lupa has been very quiet. Perhaps she is sending us aid. The wolves could be from her, to defend us from Orion and his pack." The hopefulness in her voice was as thin as gauze. Nico decided not to rip through it. "Maybe," he said. "But wouldn't Lupa be busy with the war between the camps? I thought she'd be sending wolves to help your legion." Reyna shook her head. "Wolves are not front-line fighters. I don't think she would help Octavian. Her wolves might be patrolling Camp Jupiter, defending it in the legion's absence, but I just don't know." She crossed her legs at the ankles, and the iron tips of her combat boots glinted. Nico made a mental note not to get in any kicking contests with Roman legionnaires. "There's something else," she said. "I haven't had any luck contacting my sister Hilla. It makes me uneasy that both the wolves and the Amazons have gone silent. If something has happened on the west coast, I fear the only hope for either camp lies with us. We must return the statue soon. That means the greatest burden is on you, son of Hades." Nico tried to swallow his bile. He wasn't mad at Reyna. He kind of liked Reyna, but so often he'd be called on to do the impossible. Normally, as soon as he accomplished it, he was forgotten. He remembered how nice the kids at Camp Half-Blood had been to him after the war with Kronos. "Great job, Nico! Thanks for bringing the armies of the underworld to save us." Everybody smiled. They all invited him to sit at their table. After about a week, his welcome wore thin. Campers would jump when he walked up behind them. He would emerge from the shadows at the campfire, startle somebody, and see the discomfort in their eyes. "Are you still here? Why are you here?" It didn't help that immediately after the war with Kronos, Annabeth and Percy had started dating. Nico sat down his fartura. Suddenly it didn't taste so good. He recalled his talk with Annabeth at Epirus just before he'd left with the Athena Parthenos. She'd pulled him aside and said, "Hey, I have to talk to you." Panic had seized him. She knows. "I want to thank you," she continued. "Bob, the Titan, he only helped us in Tartarus because you were kind to him. You told him we were worth saving. That's the only reason we're alive." She said "we" so easily, as if she and Percy were interchangeable, inseparable. Nico had once read a story from Plato, who claimed that in the ancient times, all humans had been a combination of male and female. Each person had 2 heads, 4 arms, 4 legs. Supposedly, these combo humans had been so powerful they made the gods uneasy, so Zeus split them in half, man and woman. Ever since, humans had felt incomplete. They spent their lives searching for their other halves. And where does that leave me? Nico wondered. It wasn't his favorite story. He wanted to hate Annabeth, but he just couldn't. She'd gone out of her way to thank him at Epirus. She was genuine and sincere. She never overlooked him or avoided him like most people did. Why couldn't she be a horrible person? That would have made it easier. The wind god Favonius had warned him in Croatia, "If you let your anger rule you, your fate will be even sadder than mine." But how could his fate be anything but sad? Even if he lived through this quest, he would have to leave both camps forever. That was the only way he would find peace. He wished there was another option, a choice that didn't hurt like the waters of the Phlegethon, but he couldn't see one. Reyna was studying him, probably trying to read his thoughts. She glanced down at his hands, and Nico realized he was twisting his silver skull ring, the last gift Bianca had given him. "Nico, how can we help you?" Reyna asked. Another question he wasn't used to hearing. "I'm not sure," he admitted. "You've already let me rest as much as possible. That's important. Perhaps you can lend me your strength again. This next jump will be the longest. I'll have to muster up enough energy to get us across the Atlantic." "You'll succeed," Reyna promised. "Once we're back in the U.S., we should encounter fewer monsters. I might even be able to get help from retired legionnaires along the eastern seaboard. They are obligated to aid any Roman demigod who calls on them." Hedge grunted. "If Octavian hasn't already won them over, in which case you might find yourself arrested for treason." "Coach," Reyna scolded. "Not helping." "Hey, just saying. Personally, I wish we could stay in Evora longer. Good food, good money, and so far no sign of these fugitive wolves." Reyna's dogs sprang to their feet. In the distance, howls pierced the air. Before Nico could stand, wolves appeared from every direction, huge black beasts leaping from the roofs, surrounding their encampment. The largest of them padded forward. The alpha wolf stood on his haunches and began to change. His forelegs grew into arms. His snout shrank into a pointy nose. His gray fur morphed into a cloak of woven animal pelts. He became a tall, wiry man with a haggard face and glowing red eyes. A crown of finger bones circled his greasy black hair. "Ah, little satyr." The man grinned, revealing pointed fangs. "Your wish is granted. You will stay in Evora forever, because sadly for you, my figurative wolves are literally wolves."